record. All right, guys, thanks very much for coming. Just wanted to give you a couple of updates. We're going to be doing a bit more regularly the training. It seems like I've got the light at the end of the tunnel with a few things at the office and with this training page. We're about to launch Asm Careers, so that's exciting as well. I've got a lot of different projects that we're just kind of getting cleared up at this stage and up and running properly. So yeah, I should be able to spend a bit more time with training with you guys and answering questions. What I'd like you guys to do today is, if you could just put this smaller, if you guys could put any questions that you have, put them in the WhatsApp, because I don't want them pinging on my screen. I'd rather pop up today. Okay. So feel free to ask any questions in there. A few more people to arrive, guys. My apologies. But okay, let me get started. Since it's recording, you guys can, whoever shows up late or doesn't get there, they can put it on later once I've uploaded it. We'll try and upload it today. Just need to download this recording once it's done, guys. Okay. So a couple of things. What's coming? Our online platform is about complete. Chris is really excited about that. We've got this app that's going to be working. It's going to give like locations of. Give me 1 second, guys. Apologies, had to get my coffee. All right, so the app, the platform that we've got moving is about done. Just so you know, that to give you a bit of an idea, I'd love to be able to show the screen, but it's changed a lot since we first planned it. But basically, it's going to give the location of all of the universities that we work with across the USA. That's like 4,000 universities. So this application is going to be pretty. It's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be very interesting. So kids can actually go and click on the. They can click on the university, and then they can get basic information about that university, the size, the entry levels, things like that. Obviously, we'll be able to take advantage of that and help the placement side of things as well, because we can quickly. If a school is interested in a kid, we can quickly tell that kid, hey, listen, this school has, these facilities, these sports teams, and these are the studies that you'll be able to do there, all of that kind of stuff. So that's going to be really cool once that's up and running. So that was one thing I wanted to let you guys know about. At the beginning of the year, we came up with a few sort of new areas that we're going to work towards this year. ASM Elite is basically up and running. It is part, there's already a web page already set up. ASM Elite, just for you guys to know, is basically anything where there's a large event, a corporate type event, and this can happen anywhere in the world, obviously primarily in the US, but we can do this anywhere. We're very well connected with a lot of high profile athletes nowadays, okay? After sort of all of these years of work of connecting people and finding people in different places and helping them, we now have the situation where we have a very good relationship with some high profile athletes from all over the place. And with that allows us to create events and actually invite these athletes. So we're now going to be doing ASM Elite. That's where you can have, corporations can have events. You want Tiger Woods to turn up at your golf tournament for a charity. We can make that happen. Obviously, it's expensive. These corporations will be paying large amounts of money for it, but we can make these events happen. We're going to use our network of professional athletes and minor celebrities to be able to do these events. So that's a really exciting one that we've got set up. Web page is already up and running, and there's a couple of events. I think Bank of America are already involved in one that hopefully we're participating in the next couple of months. Another segment that we've worked pretty hard over the last few weeks is Asm Careers. I think I've mentioned it a few times in the group chat. Basically, what we're doing is this platform is going to allow a couple of things. Firstly, it's going to be a value add. This is just for you guys to talk about with clients. If you are sort of initially having conversations and they want to know a little bit about the company. Obviously, the scholarships is the main thing, but stuff that you can do afterwards. We can actually help kids now after university go into the workforce. So there are large organizations, corporations, that the way they see hiring nowadays, rather than, sounds bad for the older generation, someone like myself, but rather than a corporation teaching an old dog new tricks, okay, we actually had a large a CEO of a large company on a golf course not too long ago, basically said, I'm so fed up of trying to hire people and then trying to train them, and they've just got these bad habits from other companies. So what these corporations are doing right now is actually looking towards, obviously, university graduates and getting placement at maybe a lower level. We're not talking sort of $80, $90, $150,000 a year, but certainly like entry level work, $30, $40, $50,000 a year kind of jobs, in banks, in large accounting firms, in law firms, these kind of places, even hospitals, in certain positions, where we'll actually now provide a service where we'll help those kids get placed. So for you as a scout director, you can take advantage of that and use it if you feel in a conversation that obviously education and a job after university is a priority for that family, rather than potentially playing professional sports. We all know most of the kids really want to do professional sports. That's now a really good option for these kids. It's a way of enticing mom and dad to invest in the kids' future other than just university. So I mean, my personal process is very much looking at a kid. If I take 100 kids, I'm expecting 1 or 2 of them to go pro, and then we can use the agent license to help them go professional after university, right? But there's a hell of a lot of kids, a much larger group of kids that are just going to go get a job, right? They're going to finish university and they're either going to try and stay here in the USA or they're going to go home. Either way, we're going to be able to help them now with Asm Careers. So it's a massive one. We're actually getting large corporations are going to be using the website, just a lot like how universities use us to find their student athletes. Corporations are now going to come to us and use us as a regular recruitment source. Obviously, these are companies that are looking for sort of student athlete type mentality, disciplined, hardworking. They get the job done. They still have their sports, and that's a big sort of psychological bonus. If you can get corporations now look at athletes as people that they have the teamwork, they have the discipline, they don't mind, getting up at 5 a.m. and getting a job done. In the traditional case of an athlete, they're getting up to go to the gym, but getting work done, still living a healthy lifestyle, which obviously there's ways that companies can save money, cheaper health insurance, things as simple as that. If they've got healthy people, young, healthy people that are qualified and educated in the industries, that's a massive bonus. So it's that an opportunity for the students to get their foot in the door at these large corporations when they finish school, if they don't become professional athletes. So that was a little bit of a gap in our industry, and we've just gone and plugged it by creating Asm Careers. On the other side, also, universities, obviously we've got a lot of connections with universities. So with that in mind, we can also now help people get into university for work. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I come across this a lot when I'm speaking to potential clients. Quite often you end up with the client and you end up with mom and dad on the phone. 9 times out of 10, the dad is involved in the sport. Just like in my family, My two kids play rugby. I played professional rugby back in the day, and you know, I'm their coach. It's very amateurish in terms of the actual club organization, but I got all my certifications. I've done some professional coaching gigs along the way, and I obviously am an example of that. So when I'm speaking to parents, very often the moms and dads are quite involved in the sport itself, and they're looking for potentially coming over here as well. I even had a guy, I think he's from New Zealand, a rugby coach from New Zealand, coaches the local high school team, but it's one of the best high school rugby teams in New Zealand. He's looking for his son to come over here to the USA for university in a couple of years, and he's also going to be using us to get a job while that happens. So he's going to work in the USA while his child is in university. They may not end up in the same place, but he's quite excited at the prospect of being able to take his hobby to a professional level and working within the university system here. And that's a lower level in terms of qualification. He's just a high school coach that's going to come over here and potentially teach college rugby, right? That makes sense for that sport in this country. He's a New Zealander, coached at a decent level in New Zealand, coming over here at university level, it makes sense. But we got this at many different levels, okay? So there's, obviously all of the different sports. Sometimes it might be internships, but there's a whole range of things that we can do there. So with all of that in mind, just wanted to sort of give you a bit of an idea of the progress that we've been making. We did send out a mandate at the beginning of the year with 7 or 8 items that we wanted to really get done. And basically 3 of them are done, 3 out of those 7. So we're going in the right direction. Just keep having to plug away at getting that work done. Okay. Let me just check. I mentioned earlier, guys, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to put them into the WhatsApp chat that's always running. A lot of you guys, sometimes you're not checking that and you're asking questions that get answered quite regularly. Feel free to use it. Check it every day, guys. Otherwise, there's a lot of repetition going on. But always a resource. Feel free to. There's no stupid questions, right? Well, there is, but go ahead and ask them anyway. Okay. All right, guys. So a couple of things that I wanted to talk about today. I'll try and keep it brief. I got about 15 more minutes, I guess. So this would work. Now, we've got the plan in place to have a scout become a scout director. I imagine there's a few scout directors already in this chat today. Let me just scroll down. No, Radley was going to try and get on, but I don't think he made it. But I know, for example, Tyrone, potentially you're someone that might end up being a scout director quite soon. And there's a few newbies on here today. Denise, how you doing? Nice to see you. So guys, there's a definite pathway that we want to take, right? Myself, I probably told you the story. I was an agent long before, but I've built my client portfolio from being a scout. So the process was, for me, I brought in about 20 clients 6 years ago, year 1, when me and Chris started working together. In that first year, those 20 clients came in. They were all 14, 15, 16 years old. And then I spent a year or 2 or 3 getting them into university. Obviously, we provide those services of helping the kids get into university, right? When they're in university, then they've got 4 years or 2 years, depending if they go to a junior college or not. And if they're very good at their sport, then they can potentially play professionally. Now I have four athletes, that are playing professional rugby in different parts of the world. 2 of them in the US, 2 of them abroad, and that keeps building, right? So with that in mind, we want to try and recreate that for you guys. And I'm sure I mentioned this to you when we first spoke. I spoke to 90% of the people, at least, that are scouting now. So what we're going to do is we want to keep you on track. So if you're relatively new, let's put this into place as a 6-month target. If you've been here for a while, I want to see this crowd becoming scout directors in a very short period of time. Give me like 3-4 months, but you've got to be able to set targets for yourself to achieve this. we're going to put in a new way of doing it. Now, generally, what I say to someone is, if you're bringing in 3 or 4 new clients each month, then that's a flag for me to sort of say, okay, this person should be considering becoming a scout director. What does that mean? So a scout, you can do it as often or as little as you like, right? You can, if you maybe one weekend you've got an easy weekend, you're not doing much, you might work as, you might put the work in as a scout. Then you might not do anything for again for a couple of weeks. I would prefer scouts to work on a daily basis. You're going to get more traction if you work on a daily basis. Okay. Now, if you're doing an hour or 2 each day, set a target within that hour. How many people do you research? How many clients do you contact? And then from there, you can develop over the course of a week. That means you end up speaking with, say it's 20 per hour. Then over the course of a week, that's 100 people or 140 people if you do 7 days. And then from that, you can start to track what your success rate is, right? So with that in mind, you've got the possibility to track what you're doing and build it. Another way to build your client deals or your sales or your client portfolio is do what I do. I've literally built a team of scouts that provide us with leads on a daily basis. Now there's about 300 scouts globally. So you can imagine, you guys have tried to get in touch with me sometimes and I just don't respond because I've got 300 people bombarding me with messages. It's ridiculous sometimes. My WhatsApp group chats are off the chain. But what we want to do is now we want to give the scouts the opportunity to bring in their own team. Normally it would go from scout to scout director. And as a scout director, you buy a license with us and then you build your team. We're going to give you the opportunity. We've found a little bit of wiggle room in the money. So if a client pays full price for a deal, then, and you just bring it as a scout, but if you've built a team of scouts yourself that work with you, that are getting basically a finder's fee. So, looking at people that are maybe in your community, that the PE teacher, the soccer coach locally, these people that you speak to them on a regular basis because you've got that sports network in your area, then there's an opportunity for you to start building your team earlier. Rather than waiting to become a scout director, which I know there's at least 3 or 4 of you recently that have said, I'd really like to be a scout director and build a team, we've decided we're going to do this. So how do we do that? You basically get your team member, your new team member, introduce them to me, and we'll put them through the registration process, and that person can then work within your team. Okay. I know there's a few guys that are already kind of partnering with people unofficially. We want people official. We want people registered on our webpage so that when they're going out there and speaking to clients, and the client says, well, who are you, where you're from? You can say those scouts can say with confidence, I'm an ASM scholarship scout. I'm registered and on their webpage. We need to update that as well, by the way, guys. There's a few people that I'm looking on this list of people that are watching this today that are not on the page. For some reason, they haven't either sent the picture in or they haven't sent their YouTube welcome message, something along those lines. So let's get that cleared up as well while I'm thinking about it. So guys, yeah, what we want to do is say to you, let's go out there, build your scouting team. You're already in the network, right? You've already got that group of people that in your neighborhood, in your area, in your niche sport that you're connected with. Have a conversation with these guys, make a partnership. We will, obviously scouts get paid $295, right? $295. We're going to give an extra $100 if it's a scout that registers with us that you bring in. Okay, so that scout will, basically a basic scout, and they'll get a finder's fee of $100 just to bring in clients to you. So if you build a little team for yourself and you've got 10 scouts out there that are maybe a little bit unofficial, but they're registered with us at least, then they bring you deals. If they're bringing, 10 people to you every week, that's 10 people that you didn't have to go find. And then you can start to manage those. You can pass on this information to them, when we're doing our regular training, and really start to build up your team. Okay. So again, same situation. They'll register with us. They'll do the normal background check and everything else like everybody else does, and you can manage those people. Now, the idea of this is when you become a scout director, it means that you've gotten 10 scouts. If you bring 10 registered scouts to the organization, we'll automatically upgrade you to a scout director. Okay, so instead of you getting paid $295, you'll now get $750 for each deal that you bring in. Obviously, that means there's a certain amount of learning, but by default, that's going to happen because you're bringing in clients on a regular basis. You're bringing in scouts that you need to pass on information to. You can learn a lot from that. Obviously, we, the team leaders in the office, and myself included, continue to help you close those deals when you become a scout director. But slowly but surely, we'll be able to let you go and run on your own with that. And again, you'll be managing that team. And at that stage, you know what you're doing. So I want to set a target of 4 months. The people that are on here today, if you're really interested in sort of developing this into more of a career, it's all sitting there waiting for you guys. There's no reason why you can't do this now. So again, you'll get, if you find yourself a team of people that want to be involved, people that are maybe, like I said, sports team coaches, PE teachers, these groups of people that you've got in your network, have a chat with them and tell them, listen, if you send me potential clients this way, I'll give you a finder's fee of $100. You're not going to lose out, guys. You're going to still get your $295. We just need to make sure that, that their name is involved in the process. Just communicate that with your team leader as we go. And then from there, once you've got 10 people on your team, that's automatically bumping you up to a scout director position. Scout directors normally have to buy a license because as a scout director, you get access to the pipe drive, you get access to marketing, and we can do targeted Instagram marketing in your location, in your area. The CRM system that we use is called Pipedrive. You'll get access to that and an email address. And then, it's obviously a lot more professional for you, and you can go a bit more maybe confident into those conversations with high school coaches and parents and the actual clients themselves. Okay, so with that, guys, any questions for me? I've got 4 minutes left. I want to try and answer any questions you might have regarding this. Is there hands up if there's anybody actually interested in that? I mean, I'm getting people asking me about it. I've had at least 4 or 5 people recently talking about becoming scout directors. But of this group that we've got here, are any of you? Well, let me ask this. Let me turn it around. Who has people within their network that they think would provide leads to them willingly? Okay, is that Car Gen Industries? Is that Carlisle, I think? Wesley Myers, yeah. Seba, yeah. So, okay, so you've got people within your network that, so maybe if you get a chance, guys, Roberto as well, on the ASM Scout group chat, just write down what it is that they're involved with. Is that those people that you're talking about? Are they the PE teacher at school? Are they a high school soccer coach? Put it in that group chat for me. Let me know who it is that you're thinking would do that. Not individual names, obviously, just sort of what their background is. And then, guys, you can sort of take that. For me, within the rugby world, I target national team coaches in the Caribbean. So because I do a lot of commentating for this part of the world, the coach of Jamaica's under-19s team, when I go commentate, that's somebody that I speak to. I have to speak to them to get the names of the kids so that I can talk about them in the games, right? So there's Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, Mexico, and a few others, those Caribbean countries that play rugby. So that's a great resource for me. Obviously, within the South Africa system, I'm quite connected with a lot of rugby coaches in South Africa as well, and obviously the high schools, the private high schools in the UK. We had one kid yesterday called from Eton. I don't know if you know Eton, but it's one of the best schools in the UK. Royalty literally attends that high school and gets ready for Cambridge or Oxford or St Andrews. So those are three of the things for me: is international rugby coaches in the Caribbean, academy team coaches in South Africa, and high school coaches in the UK. So guys, what I suggest that you do, and I'm gonna document this as well in the group chat as an official thing that can be done. I want you guys to go away and write down a list of names of people that you know that are heavily involved in high school or youth sports within your network. Whether it's people that you know personally, whether it's people that you've got a friend of a friend that you feel comfortable reaching out to. That's your target right now. If you can get just one or two in the beginning, but ultimately, if you can get 10 people working for you, that's a massive resource of people that can be bringing clients to you, and you're not losing out here, guys. You can still get your $295. We'll find an extra $100 to give to those people in the beginning, and they do need to register with us because we'll still do the background check and everything. And then when you've got 10 people on board, 10 people registered as scout with us, I'll bump you up to a scout director, and then your fee for finding clients goes from $295 up to $750. All right, guys, I think that's a pretty good deal. So any questions, guys? Nothing. I don't see anything on there. There's a chat popped up in all the people interested in the group. I'm sure I have more than 10, all semi-pro and pro school. Okay, exactly. That's Carlisle, I think, right? So these, immediately Carlisle's got 10 potential people at semi-pro and pro and school sports level. So they're the target for him within his sport. So perfect. That's exactly what we're looking for, guys. Now, if you have any questions about that and you can't think of them right now, feel free to message in the group chat. I want this as a collaborative conversation, guys. So if you put it down on paper and everybody sees it, then it sort of stimulates the mind and gets people thinking, oh, well, I know that. I know a guy that does a similar thing in my town. And that way you can be working a lot more fluidly. Okay. All right, guys. So if you've got no other questions, I will let you go. I'm going to try to do this at least twice a week now. And it looks like I've got a little bit more time. Like I said earlier, I see the light at the end of the tunnel with a few of these projects. But yeah, we'll chat very soon, guys. Keep an eye on the group chat. Try and get to these meetings as often as possible. I did this specifically earlier in the day so that we could involve the people in Australia and New Zealand and Asia. So thank you guys for staying up a little bit later this evening to be involved in this conversation. I appreciate it. Maybe later in the week, we'll do one at maybe 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and it catches the people sort of California, Mexico, Argentina, and then maybe even a few of the people that are getting up on the other side of the world, like New Zealand, first thing in the morning in New Zealand, 14, 15, 16 hours ahead. Okay. So yeah, I'll just try and vary the time. So this was a 7 a.m. one, which means Malaysia, for example, and Hong Kong, it's 7 p.m. Australia is probably 9 p.m., something like that. So we'll do it this way, and then it just gets a bit more variety, and we don't neglect those scouts that are maybe a little bit further afield. Okay. Thank you very much for coming in, guys. Again, put any questions that you have into the group chat going forward, and let's make it collaborative. There's a lot of scouts in there that have got a lot of experience now, so they may even be able to answer the questions a bit quicker than I can. But make sure it's you check on it daily at least, and yeah, get your questions in there and help each other out and make some friends around the world. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you, and keep working hard, guys. Thanks a lot. Take it easy. Have a great day. Okay, I'm going to finish off my coffee and get to the office. Ciao.